Summer Blockbuster is finally here.
We could go back to the history of blockbusters, which was when it all started in 1977 with the release of Jaws.
Without some of those movies, I don't think it would have sparked that imagination in so many of us who decide to go in that film industry.
When Trump came in office, he said he was going to release these files basically this summer, and it coincided with Spielberg's release of Disclosure Day.
When we think blockbuster, we think nostalgia.
We enjoy when the bigger films come in, like Superman, but all of us are storytellers of our own.
That was Summer Catch. I played Jessica Biel's boyfriend that she dumps for Freddie Prinze Jr.
Welcome back to Unfiltered Brew. Summer Blockbuster is finally here, so we're talking about movies that shaped generations, dominated box office, and changed Hollywood. Joining us back is Mike Wendt and Jack Baun, our returning guests. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Katerina,
Welcome
and
back.
This is Nora.
Hello, guys. Welcome back. We're so good to have
Thank
you.
you.
It's almost been like a year now since we last had you on
Yeah.
the show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, talked about movies the last time. That's why
Lots
we're
of
here
Superman
again.
talk last time.
Yeah,
Lots of
that's
Superman
right. That was the
talk.
summer blockbuster. Was that the movie that came out last year then, right? For the
Yeah.
blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, it seems longer than that. That was just, a year ago.
A year ago, it's
And now we've got
been
Supergirl coming out. So
Yeah.
next
So-
month.
So, Mike, tell us what is the next big movie this summer?
Well, Jack and I, we had a little mandate.
Day night.
We saw Disclosure Day, which is the new movie from Steven Spielberg. So both him and I and our mutual friend Rob are huge Spielberg fans. So, and I think most like cinephiles are, whenever a Spielberg movie comes out, it's an event. And the last one that came out was The Fabelmans, which was his basically a biography of himself. Which is, maybe some people might argue that's like, blowing smoke up his own ass. But it's been 4 years, and usually he makes movies like every 2-3 years. So I don't know. I quite enjoyed it. I don't know. I know, like we talked
Also
about
the
it.
movie,
Yeah.
So the movie Disclosure Day. So when we came out of the movie. So I would backtrack and say going into the movie, I had, I think, higher expectations than I received fulfillment coming out of the movie.
The core theme of the movie.
Oh, the core theme.
Yeah.
So it's basically about, so right now in the government, in real life, they have been releasing the secret files that the government's been storing since 1947. Is 1947, Mike? Mm-hmm. Yeah, about aliens and other worldly beings here on Earth. And so the government has been storing this stuff. They don't think the population can handle releasing this information. So that's what coincidentally that's what this movie is about. So when Trump came in office, he said he was going to release these files basically this summer, and it coincided with Spielberg's release of Disclosure Day. So we don't know if that was planned or what. It's just such a high coincidence, But yeah, it's about a guy that is basically a whistleblower. He has secret information that pertains to the aliens that are existing on Earth and have been for millennial. And and so it's a big chase kind of movie where the government's trying to track him down with the secret information because he's going to expose it to the world.
Yeah, it's and I feel like it. The whistleblower is played by Josh O'Connor, who is this British actor who's
he's
been
from the Queen. What's it called? The Queen.
Yes.
The Queen.
Yes.
On Netflix
Yes.
when the Queen Elizabeth's life story.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
and then
He plays Prince Charles, right?
yes, and Emily Blunt plays this weather anchor, and they both have this connection. They have to kind of figure out why. So it's like a chase. Most of the movie is like this. It's a race against time against these government officials. I would say I kind of agree with you, Jack, where like largely I was really into this most like 95% of the movie. The ending, I wish it like hit me a little harder. And maybe it's just a personal thing, but like I don't know, I'm just used to like E.T., the ending of E.T. and Close Encounters making me cry like a
I love
baby.
E.T.
You
Yeah.
know?
Well,
Well,
let me
I
ask you,
love
let me
E.T..
ask you, did you cry?
No, I
So
didn't.
that is
Now
an
again,
indication that it wasn't as
well, yeah.
popular
So like for me, you know, when Top Gun Maverick came out, I was like coming out of there. I was like, oh, I was exhilarated. I could feel it in my body that I love that as that kind. I would say Top Gun Maverick brought on the new era of blockbusters again for summer.
Yeah.
When that came out, I was very excited coming out of there. I felt like I was a kid again. This one, maybe it's because, and we talked about this also, there was so much Spielberg direction and set and lighting and music and stuff like that in the movie that I was so looking for that and encapsulated with that the story was almost secondary to me.
Yeah.
And also I anticipate, I can't give certain spoilers away, but the one main thing that we said happened at the end, we knew that was going to happen at some point, and I think that I was like waiting. My mind was waiting for that to happen sooner, and so I was like, "When's that going to happen? When's that going to happen?"
Yeah. What comes after that is kind of what I was thinking, but it kind of just stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without
Also-
spoiling anything.
Right. That's a good point.
But also, when we think blockbuster, we think nostalgia. At least for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you first told me you're gonna go see the movie, I wasn't really interested, even though it is directed by one of the all-time.
The goat.
The
Directors.
GOAT,
Yeah.
directors. But I think because the storyline was too relevant to today, I just didn't seem interested. Like I want to feel nostalgic.
That's a
in the
good
movie
point
theater.
too. It's almost like you're just seeing the news on a movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's too
That's
relevant.
a good point.
Right? So
Yeah.
when I go into the movie theater, I want to feel like
Yeah.
it's taking me
Escape.
back.
Yeah,
Escape.
yeah,
Yes, take
yeah.
me back.
That's
when I
a
was
great
kid.
point.
Yeah.
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 For someone who's never heard of the term before, what actually makes a movie a blockbuster?
It typically is something that is made for a certain amount, usually over 100 million, and then it would make more than it costs to make. And it's usually something that the population would come out and see. So
But when you say it made for 100 million, that's nowadays because many of the blockbusters. So we could go back to the history of blockbusters, which was when it all started in 1977 with the release of Jaws, and so
Which we have here, right?
Yep,
Look
yep.
at this.
So that's Spielberg's first big movie.
It was like the summertime movie of this decade, right? Back then. Or?
Well, not the decade of that year because then Star Wars came out.
Oh, this came
well,
out before.
this
Star
came
Wars?
out 75.
Yeah, 75.
And
This
then
was before
I'm
Star
sorry,
Wars.
75.
Star
I'm
Wars was
sorry. I'm sorry.
77.
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah. That
That's
was
new to me.
But yeah, Jaws
That's
ushered the
insane.
modern
It came out in
blockbuster.
75.
Yeah,
Wow.
75.
I
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
born yet.
I don't
Yes.
think I was even planned yet.
Yeah, Jaws was 75, and that was Spielberg's big blockbuster movie. I mean, it broke the block because there were literally people lined up down the street around the block to get in the theater. I think they put in I don't remember how much the movie cost, but do you know what it was?
I think
I can
in
look it up.
today's,
In that-
I think it was budgeted for around 10, and it
10
ended
million.
up being about 30.
Oh my
But
god! And you
really?
know
in
how much it
75
made?
money is
And do you know how
a
much
lot.
it made
It
roughly?
made 100 million in the first month.
So roughly
which is like 400 million.
worldwide, it made $470 million during its original release
Yeah.
and re-releases.
In the
And
first
then-
month, it was 100 million,
which
Wow.
is
is
with
insane.
inflation, that would be over $2 billion in
Right.
today's dollars.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, because people
insane.
they couldn't get enough of it. They would see it over and over again.
So
and
what was about I've seen Jaws obviously, but at the time, what was it? Why were people so drawn to Jaws?
It stirred them emotionally. I mean, it's something that we can all relate to. Going to the beach, it came out in June, so leading up to July 4th. I think it was June 20th, 75.
Yep.
And so, 2 weeks later, July 4th, the movie takes place on July 4th, and he literally struck fear into the entire
The
nation.
entire
You know what I
population.
mean?
Wow.
So, yeah.
Till this day.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Right?
yeah, absolutely. To this day, you didn't think about sharks back then. You know, really. I mean, and nowadays I won't even get in the water up to past my knees.
Well, the smart thing about that film is you don't see the shark for long
For a long
stretches of the
time,
movie. So it's all about the
emotion.
as Jack,
Yeah.
And I would
building that mood.
And it's like a horror film too, in a way.
Yes.
It's like a horror film in the water. And that ushered also, then they kind of took that model and made more horror based off of that, the popularity of that, with Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers. So it's like you don't see this bad thing that often, and then when it pops up, you know.
Yeah. Well, and I think the thing that Spielberg did in Jaws is, even though, yes, it is about the shark, it's really about the human characters. And especially in that first half hour, there are so many memorable, like, one-line characters. Like the guy who's always, he did what? You remember that guy forever. You know, and it's just for, like, 2 words, basically.
I always remember the part, and I didn't see it in the theater because I was too young, but I remember seeing it, I think, in one of my friend's house. They had, I think it came on HBO or something.
Sure.
And I always had to go to like other people's houses to watch cable. We never had cable. Or I didn't get a VCR till I was like a senior in high school.
Wow.
So yeah, but all my friends
Damn,
had
you're
it.
old.
What's that? What?
As a man, you're old.
Yeah. And so yeah, I saw it. I unfortunately didn't get to see it on the big screen, but I have since, because I've seen it at it's been playing at the drive-ins now. It's been re-released. I think it's coming back out on the theater sometime this year.
Which
also.
one?
Jaws.
Well, it did 2 years ago for the 50th
We did
anniversary.
that, yeah, I went
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, it's reissued all the time just because it
It's
is
just
it
a
is
really
literally
great
one
summer
of the
movie.
the
Yeah.
best movies
Yeah.
ever made.
Yeah, and that movie could have made or break Spielberg too, because they like you said, they went way over budget, way over schedule, and then when he got brought on to do by his best friend George Lucas to do Raiders of the Lost Ark, they're like, okay, we got to bring this thing in on budget, and they did, and in on time, and that's what made Spielberg like what he is today, essentially. Because if he didn't bring that one in on budget, they could have blackballed him from the industry, really. If that was a failure.
Well, and a lot of his movies have come out like either June 11th or June 12th. So if you look over like the span of time, the fact that Disclosure Day came out June 12th, Jurassic Park came out June 11th, 1993. I remember I was in 3rd grade, right after school. It was the last day of school.
Straight to the movie theater.
My friend's mom took me and him to see Jurassic Park. My friend was so scared that he like jumped. We were in the back row. He like jumped past the seats during that scene where Dennis Nedry's getting like eaten by the Dilophosaurus.
Oh my goodness.
I will never forget that.
Wow.
So
That's funny.
this is like, it's like Spielberg's wheelhouse.
Isn't there another Jurassic Park coming out?
There's been quite a few.
I mean,
One just came out
How do we
last
feel
year.
about these sequels and re-releases and remakes? How do we truly feel about them? Tell us, Mike.
Well, the newer ones, not. I just feel like the scripts aren't as sharp. Obviously, even to me, the like Tyrannosaurus Rex in the first one looks better than all the CGI stuff that they're putting out.
Yeah, you could.
So I don't know. I feel like maybe they should just let it lie for like a long time.
Yeah, I agree.
And just come up with something new.
I mean, the first movie is always the best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Except for with
to
Star
me.
Wars. Except for with Star Wars.
Even Scream. Speaking of Scream, now that they,
Yeah.
they just made what?
Yeah.
Is it Scream?
The first 3
7?
Screams, I think 7
7
came out.
just
Yeah.
came out.
It wasn't, but
Yeah.
I didn't really hear
not
much
the
about
same.
it. It's been like on a.
After the
Yeah.
third Scream, I thought after the first 3 Screams, there was no drop off in quality. I
Right.
thought those were great, and then after that, it started getting like, okay, let's get a new bad guy.
Speaking of Scream, what was it like being on the set of Scream 2? Because you had a little cameo.
Yeah, I was on Scream 2.
Tell us, movie star.
What was really cool about it is I got to meet Wes Craven, who is, he created Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
He's from Cleveland.
I love Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, so he was one of the great original horror directors, and I shot that in Atlanta. So, but it was really just cool to be able to. First, I auditioned for him, so he was sitting there, and it was like, that was kind of cool. And then when I got to be on set, actually, they didn't have any lines for me. They gave me some action to do because I got tackled by like the main character, David Arquette and Courtney Cox. They thought I was the bad guy for a minute, and And he's like, just act natural or whatever. And so I should have got a writing credit because I popped up and I said, "Can I help you?" You know, because they steal my cell phone and I also should have got a stunt credit because he kept having to jump over the wall and tackle me. He had knee pads on, I had nothing on, and so that was kind of cool too. So
I
that was
heard
fun.
you took Courtney Cox on a date.
No, that was Jessica Biel.
Oh, okay.
Wow, how was
Yeah.
that?
That was good.
How was
that was
Jessica
in
Biel, we
Summer
got
Catch.
your ex-date guy here.
yeah, that was Summer Catch. I played Jessica Biel's boyfriend that she dumps for Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh, I used to be so obsessed with Freddie Prinze. So hot.
And him and on the set when I was there, he and Sarah Michelle Gellar were already together. I think they were just dating and got married. Just she was there visiting the set.
They're still together.
And they're still together.
Yeah.
That's
Are
a great
they?
Hollywood
Like the
couple.
longest lasting couple in
Yeah,
Hollywood.
Wow.
really. Yeah, him and Tom Hanks, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so.
So tell us, Mike, what would Hollywood look like if Jaws was never made?
Oh, geez. I really don't think. I mean, if we didn't have somebody like Spielberg to usher this in, I feel like there would be still movies made, but it would just be kind of, it
He
wouldn't
set the standard.
it wouldn't
Yeah.
be as part of the cultural like lexicon that movies are without Jaws and Spielberg.
Yeah.
And I would put Lucas in there also because after Jaws, the next big blockbuster. I don't remember what was in '76. What came out?
Rocky.
Oh, Rocky, the first Rocky.
Yeah.
Okay,
But that was a very low budget film.
Yeah,
yeah.
That just happened to like really
Skyrocket.
Yes,
The same
yeah,
trajectory, yeah.
But then Star Wars was '77, and that was like the next big blockbuster, and that stayed
Yeah.
out on the theaters for nowadays a movie gets released and it's out for 2, maybe 3 weeks if you're lucky.
Yeah, then it's available to rent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Star Wars, I remember, it came out in May of ’77. I don't think I saw, because the reason I was thinking about this morning is when it first, because part of Star Wars is all the toys that they made from that. It
Like the
changed the
action
generation,
figures.
changed the world.
Yeah.
George Lucas changed the world with everything that he developed for Star Wars, whether it's sound and graphic effects and all this stuff. But the toys was another thing that he
I
kept
think when
a
we
hold
walked
of.
into Jack's apartment, I already knew everything about Star Wars.
Yeah.
yeah. My apartment looks a little bit like Skywalker Ranch inside.
It's a museum.
With all the toys, yeah. But so that was the first movie that I ever saw in the theater, but I didn't see it in the summer because it stayed till maybe around. I mean, it stayed like for a full year, I think, or at least
In this movie theater?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't see it until later in the year, maybe November or December. And the only reason I remember that, or maybe even the following spring I saw it, because I was so young, my parents just didn't, it was the first movie. But the toys weren't even released until December of the year after it was released. And I remember getting the toys about 3 days after I saw the movie. So that's why I know I didn't see it when it was
Yeah.
first released. I saw it,
Do you think that Star Wars took the blockbuster formula to another level?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah, and
absolutely.
sequels.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and when you were saying a lot of sequels aren't as good as the original, I agree with that, except for when it comes to Empire Strikes Back. I would say they say Empire Strikes Back, which is the second Star Wars movie, is the not only maybe the best movie of all time, but certainly they say it's the best sequel of all time.
I want to talk about the first one that came out because a lot of people resonate with the story, the hero's journey in the first Star Wars movie. And I didn't watch Star Wars until like 2 years ago, I think, to be honest.
To be honest with you guys, I've never watched
Did
Star
Jack
Wars.
make you?
Look at Larry's
I've
face.
never watched Star Wars, Larry. I've never watched Star Wars. Have
So-
you, Larry? Tell us. Have you watched Star Wars?
Absolutely.
So
What's
how
your
do-
favorite?
When
Well,
he says, Luke, I'm your father.
So that was Empire.
So you guys are both in the movie industry. You're a filmmaker. You commission films here in Cleveland. How has the original Star Wars movie played an impact in your career, and how has it inspired you in your work, both of you? We'll start with you, Mike.
I would just say that without some of those movies, I don't think it would have sparked that imagination in so many of us who decide to go in that film industry. it's one of those things when you see something like that, you're like, ooh, I want to play in that sandbox. For me, certainly E.T. is one of those films that I watched so many times when I was young, and I still watch it many times now. But then
that's
you know,
also
Me too.
that's also a Spielberg movie,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
And that was the blockbuster. What, 82?
82.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God, I
that
love
for a
E.T..
long time that was the highest grossing film of all time. But no, I feel that seeing something like when you see Star Wars, it just kind of like brings out. I've been watching movies with my 4-year-old nephew. Actually, today's his birthday.
Oh, happy
Oh, happy
birthday.
His name is Harrison.
Oh, nice.
Harrison, happy
That's
birthday.
awesome.
Harrison Ford.
Excellent.
But watching him see some of these blockbusters for the first time is incredible, and like just when his eyes light up when the Death Star blows up,
Which was
to
gonna
me-
lead me to that
Yeah.
question, like how do you think it has created this impact in today's generation? Because this movie is released back in the 70s, right?
Yeah, 77.
I think part of it is there's something about it. There's a universality where, like, even if maybe some of the special effects might look a little dated, but they still look really good.
I think
considering
they
the
look
time.
better than stuff today.
Yeah.
I saw Mandalorian, and I was like, the original 3 Star Wars, even some of the prequels, it was hard for me to watch Mandalorian. While I liked the action, it's like the graphics took me out of the. It was silly. It was like a video game.
Yeah. No. So it's like when seeing some of this stuff, I don't know. Like I said, it's just like I love when sharing things with with younger people. Like there's just something that I think it's inherently just dropped down from generation to generation now, that people see these movies, they love them, and it's not like they're like, oh, I'm bored. There's just like old school storytelling,
Yeah.
and it all comes
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
to story.
And those stories, like you said, the hero's journey, that's a story that has been in existence since the beginning of time, really. I mean, everybody can relate to it. There's all different archetypes within all of our lives, and we can say, oh, that's kind of like that guy. Everybody is kind of somebody that even if it's subconsciously, and it's just a relatable story, the hero's journey, and George Lucas studied Joseph Campbell, who wrote The Hero with 1,000 Faces, who basically he's a philosopher, and he basically said, look, it's the same story, just different names and different faces. And even Disney takes that same formula, whether it's the movie Cars or Finding Nemo. It's about somebody, and you start off in your everyday world, and then you're not quite happy with it. Things are always like, oh, I meant for something more, blah 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 blah, and then something kicks you into gear, whether it's by force or by tragedy or whatever the case may be, and forces you into that next level of your life. And then there's always the mentor, you know what I mean, which is the Obi-Wan Kenobi character, and then you meet your team. It's like Robin Hood, Robin Hood and the Merry Men or whatever. It's like you have like Han Solo and Star Wars and Princess Leia, and they all get together and all fight for one cause. And then there's always, of course, evil in the world. So that's something we can all relate to. So we know there's a clear-cut good guy, there's a clear-cut good guy, bad guy, and then there's, of course, the side characters, which are with amongst all the. What's great about Star Wars is amongst all of the action and stress, there's also the comic relief. You have to have that comic relief, which is like the robots, R2-D2 and C-3PO. And that dates back to Shakespeare's time, when you would have in Shakespeare plays, you would have like what's off the side, soliloquy? Is it the people off to the side that they make a joke about what's going on in the story? Yeah. So it's a story that lasts a lifetime, so we can all relate to it, and that's why it's still in.
So speaking
today.
of like Jaws and Star Wars, which one do you think had a bigger impact?
Ooh.
For us or for
just
the world
in general?
Wow.
Or maybe how did maybe Spielberg and George Lucas differ in storytelling?
That's a great
question. I'll let Mike handle that one.
Well, I mean, I would say, because Jaws was first, I feel like that helped impact George Lucas to have the courage to make this make Star Wars.
So
Yeah.
Joss came
essentially.
first.
And there's a
Yeah.
little, I think
You
there's
know.
probably some competition between the two, friendly competition.
Yes,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
now he did the Blockbuster because they're great friends. I mean, they did so many movies, all the Indiana Jones stuff. What
Well,
else?
and there's a story that Spielberg told where like they kind of bet on each other by like taking percentage points.
That's true.
So like George Lucas took a couple percentage points for Close Encounters, and then Spielberg took a couple for Star Wars. So it was kind of a competition of like who can make the most money
Yeah.
between the two of us. But both of them, because I feel like they have this friendship, and they both kind of came up around the same time, especially also with Francis Ford Coppola, and you can certainly throw in why can't I think of the director of Carrie?
What is that?
Brian De Palma.
Oh, De
Sorry,
Palma.
they like those four are like these core
Revolutionary.
friends that were all coming up around the same time in what was called New Hollywood.
And they were like more
yeah.
like independent filmmakers. They didn't want to be
Exactly.
part of the Hollywood system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like kind of they're the ones who ushered in the modern era. And we still, I think they're still revered today. I'll argue that Top Gun Maverick is essentially a remake of A New Hope. It's
I love
including
oh
the
my God.
Kessel
I
Run.
think
Yeah.
I think Top Gun Maverick is one of my favorite releases within the last like 5 years.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I
Yeah.
can rewatch
It's
that
Star
movie.
Wars.
Yeah, it's like modern day Star Wars essentially.
Yeah, I felt great coming out of that.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
really good. Then another great Spielberg. So we're talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark. So basically, what I think, Mike, let's just go in order. But like probably the first, let's say, 10 years of the blockbusters. Starting off with Jaws, we said. Then Rocky kind of fell in there, but it wasn't a smash hit. But then once Star Wars hit, then it was like 77 was Star Wars. Close Encounters came out the same year.
78. Yeah.
Oh, was it 78?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the next year.
Okay.
Someone's done their
What was
homework.
79?
79, I think the highest grossing movie was The Deer Hunter, which
okay.
is, you wouldn't probably think a 3-hour
Yeah.
movie
So
about-
maybe it was 80 then when you really had this popular one. So
Yes.
80 was Raiders of the Lost Ark. 81 was Empire Strikes Back. 82 was E.T. 83 was Return of the Jedi.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future was 85. 84 was
Back to the Future
Ghostbusters.
was also a
Yeah,
favorite.
and Temple of Doom. Kind of
Oh,
back
and
to
Temple-
back.
oh, yeah, so that- so-
Ghostbusters.
So Temple of Doom, that's a good. He brought up this with Temple of Doom. That's also obviously a Spielberg Lucas movie.
Right
but
here.
yes,
We have
so
the cover
Temple of
right here.
Doom. If you guys didn't know this, is the first movie that was a PG-13. So it was always G, PG, and R. But the studios were like, there's some, there's a scene where he has to pull his heart out.
It was a little too gruesome.
Yeah, so it's like, what are we going to do with this? And Spielberg actually went to the rating. I forget what
Yes.
the president of the rating system.
MPAA,
Yeah. Say, well, can we put another rating system in here for kids that are like, at first I think they said, well, how about like PG-14? And then we said, how about PG-13? So,
Oh, so you're saying there was no PG-13?
there was no PG-13 until
Ah.
Temple of Doom was the first PG-13,
Really?
and Spielberg single-handedly created the PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
Down here?
Yeah, because it was
Wow.
just G, PG, and R.
Yeah.
So then so he was basically the guy who
Who created PG-13?
that's
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
And-
you guys, so every generation thinks that their movies were the best. Okay, let's settle this now. What decade do you think had the greatest summer blockbuster?
Probably have to go 80s.
the 80s, yeah.
I would
Oh, you
probably,
mean
like-
overall, like
Like-
a conglomerate? Yeah,
yeah.
it would have to be 80s. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
80s was the year where I'm always drawn to the 80s, whether it's music, movies, the fashion. I've always wanted to feel what it would be like to live in the 80s, like the malls. So malls
You
started to
can
get
dress
ready.
like that. All the
Yeah.
clothes are back.
I listen to 80s music all
does.
day
Perm
long.
your hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wear the big hoops.
I'll tell you, I went on, my wife and I went on this wrestling cruise. All right. So
A wrestling cruise?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
wait, can
And,
you describe what a wrestling cruise
Well,
is?
Was it midget wrestling?
No, it was like legit, like professional
WWF
wrestling.
type?
Like WWE types.
Really?
Wow.
It was Chris Jericho is the wrestler who puts on this, but there was this cover band there called Guardians of the Jukebox, and they played basically 80 songs, but then behind them was this big video wall, and it was probably the greatest montage of 80s pop culture that I've seen in my life. And it was just like everybody who was there was like so into it, because it was just like every time like something popped up on the screen, everybody was like pointing, like, oh my god, oh my god. But I mean, and that's why I think, I mean, personally, I'm just drawn to that 80s. I mean, there's just so many iconic things that came out there.
From
I mean, the 90s would be a close second, I think.
I think the actors of the 80s.
I like the 90s. I'm not going to lie, guys.
What movie do you like the best in the 90s, would you say? What's your...
I would
kinda
say The
go-to?
Lion King.
Well, so that
okay.
was a summer
Yeah.
blockbuster.
Yep.
So that's on the summer blockbuster list of all-time blockbusters.
Disney's Lion King?
Yeah.
That was a summer blockbuster?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Can a movie not make $1 billion to be a blockbuster movie, or no?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
there's this movie out right now called Obsession.
I
and
heard.
It was made for $750,000. It's almost grossed $200 million.
Isn't that
That
insane?
Wow.
is, I mean, so that's going to become one of the most profitable films of
the
all
year,
time.
yeah.
Wow.
Of all
All
time?
Yes.
Wow.
I've heard so much about Obsession, but I'm a little too... I'm like too scared to go watch it. to be
It's
honest.
fun.
Yeah.
We should go
I think
watch
it's
Does it need to
totally
be
fun.
seen in the theater?
Or
is it-
I would say with a crowd, because like
Oh.
it's consistently been like either number 2 or 3 in the box office, so like
Okay.
it's packed.
I'll have to go
Yeah.
see it then.
You know, so I would highly suggest
theater,
it.
yeah.
And it doesn't really have. I mean, the most known star in it is Andy Richter from the Conan O'Brien show. So it's, you know, they got like a lot of young people who are up and coming. This young actress who's in it, her name's Indy Navarrete, I believe.
She plays
She gives
the-
an amazing performance. She has to switch on a dime, going from like normal to crazy.
Yeah.
And
You know what the
you'll
story's
find
about?
out why.
No,
It's
no, I
a
definitely wanna go see it now, though.
Psychotic, like, girlfriend type.
Well, basically,
Obsession.
a
Yeah.
guy has this thing called a one wish willow,
Oh,
because
yes.
he has a big crush on her, and he says, I want her to love me more than anyone else in the world. Click. And
he
just,
gets his wish.
yes, he
granted,
gets his
but-
wish and then fold. And
It reminds me of Bedazzled, the movie Bedazzled with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
when he
yes.
has like so many wishes with the devil, and then everything just like backfires on him.
yes,
Like
It's comedy.
the ghost toilet
Oh, yeah, we just had
with the stone.
Yes,
and, you know,
yes.
getting haunted and.
which I'm sure you got to see some of my Oscar-winning actors.
I know. I saw some clips
Yes,
of that. crawling on
yeah.
the floor. I was like,
We
man.
actually talked about it. What the fuck? What the fuck?
That was fun. I gotta say.
Yeah.
But
You're a good actor, Mike.
well, thank you.
So do you think have audiences today become so familiar with the formula, and how are filmmakers now able to break that and create this nuanced new movie scene for people to really feel attracted to?
It's a great question.
Yeah, I think, I mean, just looking at the films out there, I think I honestly don't know. I think that you have to be clever. You have to do something new and different. And that's one of the things, like maybe we were touching on earlier, is like a lot of the films. What I was talking about to somebody else is basically there got to a run in the middle of the 2000s, like late teens to like up till a couple years ago, where there were just a bunch of remakes of 80s and 90s stuff, or just like the tons of Marvel movies, just kind of rehashing the same old stuff. I think they try to go with, oh, okay, this is working, so we're just going to keep using this.
Right.
And now I think people are kind of getting sick of that, and people are complaining, well, like, why make another Footloose? It's the same exact movie. You're just putting different actors in. Like, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Come up with something new. Come up
Yeah.
with a new action hero. Come up with a new,
But
comedy.
don't you think like the action movie industry is saturated now? Or
No, I
is it
think the
still-
superhero part is saturated, but
Yeah.
Yes.
there's no everyday heroes anymore.
Got it. Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
I meant superhero.
there's no
yeah.
Bruce Willis's. So that brings us back to the 80s. This is when they created like those iconic actors that you don't have nowadays. there are no iconic actors
Right.
now. You had back then Harrison Ford, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Cruise.
Tom
that's
Cruise.
true,
Speaking of Tom
yeah,
Cruise, that's why
yeah.
I'm wearing the sunglasses, because in 1986 Top Gun came out, and he was one of the big, I think he's still around. He's still one of the biggest today, right?
Yeah.
So while the other guys somehow, they age, somehow Tom Cruise still looks the same as he did when he was in the
It
original
must be
Top
the
Gun.
Botox.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of agree. One of the things that right now, things are so expensive.
Yeah.
Right now, and movies are still consistently one of the cheapest forms of entertainment. So they're seeing I'm on these quarterly. I'm on these calls that talk about movie going trends. That a lot of younger people, especially Gen Z, are going to the movies and they are demanding more original content. So that's why they're drawn to something like Obsession, even though it is it's playing on the trope of be careful what you wish for, but it's just how it's done. And this Backrooms movie, which was made by a 20-year-old named Kane Parsons, and that did huge numbers. So it's one of those things that I feel that the younger generation, they're just starved they're kind of sick of the superhero stuff, and
Yeah.
they want something new that they can talk about with their friends.
I mean, I guess that makes sense.
We can't be short of that many ideas, It's like create a new character, create a
Yeah.
new bad guy. It's like don't do another. I mean, although because Halloween and Freddy Krueger, those are so iconic. I don't mind if one of those comes out every now and then. But let's create a new character. They did the one with the Thanksgiving a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I think they're
Yep.
doing the
Oh,
sequel
yeah.
this year. So that was cool that they did. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think they're doing a sequel of that too because they
People
got a good
do say
reception.
constantly that Hollywood is running out of ideas. I mean, do you think that's true or false?
I would say they're not allowing new ideas because it's such a clique. It's like it's hard to bring in fresh scripts. They're like, no, thanks. We've got this guy's been writing here for years or whatever.
Yeah.
And especially with the studio system, it's very who you know kind of cliquey. So they don't trust outsiders, to be honest.
So
Yeah.
how do we create? And I know you're part of the Cleveland Film Commission. Is Cleveland moving towards becoming a more prominent movie hub, filmmaking hub?
I would say so. There are a lot of creatives here that will work on the things that come in town that are from outside, but there are a lot of people locally harnessing their own content. Kara,
Yeah.
for example,
Yep,
with
Kara,
Ghost Toilet.
yep, from Ghost
Jack
Toilet, yep.
has Nights of
Friday Nights.
Friday Night Lights.
yeah.
Friday
and,
nights in the 80s.
Yes, sorry. And then like there's a film that I'm helping with called Infinity by my friend Rob. It's like I feel like that we could become a very good creative hub, because I think a lot of us we enjoy when the bigger films come in like Superman, but all of us are storytellers of our own, and it's like, why not us?
We
Exactly.
could be
Yeah,
that next
yeah.
generation of Lucas, Spielberg, De Palma, Coppola.
Yeah.
It's like, why not? We have all the resources here. We have great studios here now. We have great equipment, rental spaces. We have everything we need. It's just now we just need to put it together. We need to bring in the funding. We need to bring in, the people that really, as a team. Kind of like we said with the Hero's Journey, you get together as a team.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one team can conquer, everyone with the same vision. That's what you have to have, a vision and people that are committed
So you
to the
think
vision.
that like someone that's independently creating these movies that doesn't spend a lot of, or their budget's low, they can become a blockbuster movie.
I think yes.
There's
eventually.
potential, yeah.
Yeah, and we can, going back to like the films that come in from out of town, we can learn a lot from those folks when they come in here. We collaborate with them. We show that what we can do, and then maybe in turn they might be like, how can we help you? So it's I think we're in an exciting time right now.
Well,
honestly.
that's exciting. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, the other thing. So Mike and the Cleveland International Film Festival committees put together an event for. Well, go ahead and talk about it, Mike.
So it's two friends of mine, Doug Duke and Ryan Colgrove, came up with this idea called Hometown Heroes. So it's a way to honor the filmmakers who are from this area by bringing them in and showing some of their past work. So we have David Wain, who is a filmmaker who grew up in Shaker Heights. His film Wet Hot American Summer is celebrating its 25th anniversary. He also has a new movie coming out in July called Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's it. So it's that movie looks a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Basically, her fiance meets their their hall pass person,
Celebrity crush.
So now she
That's a
wants
great
to have sex
concept.
with John Hamm.
That's such a great concept.
That's the setup.
So John Hamm plays himself then?
Yes.
Oh, that's
yes.
great.
But back to Wet Hot American Summer was a cult film. When it came out, it was kind of a big flop, but it has so many stars that everybody knows and loves today. Paul Rudd, Amy Poehler,
Elizabeth
Bradley
Banks.
Cooper, Elizabeth Banks,
love Bradley.
Janine
Such
Garofalo, so many. David Hyde Pierce from Frasier is
So
in it.
casting
It's
is
so
so
funny.
important.
Christopher
But the
Maloney.
movie was a flop.
Yes, it was a big flop. It was actually a lot of critics dogged on it. I remember Roger Ebert's review of it was to the tune of "Hello Mutta, Hello Fata," the song about going to summer camp, and he was talking about how much he hated it. But no, it's a hilarious movie. I'm glad that we're getting to show it, and we're showing it at a summer camp, which is at Camp Cheerful. It's in Strongsville. So part of it, by partnering with them, we're helping support a local nonprofit that offers, basically the summer camp experience to those who have developmental disabilities or, other, family issues. So
Yeah,
it's
that's awesome.
we're happy to be partnering with them, and Jack kindly. And his kind folks are the sponsors for the event. So very excited about it, and I hope people come out. You get to hear David Wain talk about his career.
Oh, that's nice.
exciting.
Yeah, and I want to touch on when you asked that the movie was a flop. It was a flop when it came out, but since it's become when he says a cult classic, sometimes it takes movies a while to catch on.
Yeah.
And they. It spawned sequels. It spawned a prequel.
Yep.
It spawned on Netflix a series. So while it didn't hit well at the box office, it has it's spawned all kinds of sequels since then.
Yeah.
It's and it's absolutely hysterical.
Yeah.
Would you guys have 10 originals or one sequel?
Sorry.
Which one would you rather do? 10 original movies or one sequel?
Ooh. Maybe 10 originals, honestly.
I'm just gonna say a sequel. And the only reason I'm gonna say that is because that probably means my first one was successful and people are calling for the next one. I can make a lot more money.
So Jack, you're a screenplay writer, and you just mentioned that he's sponsoring the event coming up at the Strongsville.
Yeah, I thought it was a
Yeah.
good play because my
But tell us about the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Yeah,
Friday Nights of the 80s.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna say. It's called Friday Nights of the '80s. It's a teen comedy, and it just kind of makes sense with the with the event. It is also kind of one of those throwback films where there's teens going to a camp, and it's kind of along the same tone, I would say, as Wet Hot American Summer. So I think it'd be fun. And again,
So Nora and I are the main actors.
we're
We're
the main character.
We already auditioned for Ghost Toilet during the last
Yeah.
episode.
Amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
Don't forget, Kara, we are going to be in your movie.
I got a question about cult classics.
Okay.
What makes a cult classic? I remember watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I maybe went
Yeah.
to that theater 20 times. But what made it a cult classic?
When that film came out, that was definitely a flop in the theaters. But then there became this appreciation, so people started demanding it from the theaters, and it's played pretty much consistently since it came out in 1975. So if you were to think about of all the all-time grossing movies, Rocky Horror is way up there because it's just consistently played for over 50 years. But something like Wet Hot American Summer, it was just, it came to the theaters in a flash and it was gone, but then people started quoting it and they would rent it and they would dress up like the characters, you know, and that's kind of what something catches on like that becomes a cult phenomenon.
Yeah, and speaking of renting, that's another thing that I think really helps movies. Is I've got my Blockbuster T-shirt on, but you know, once a movie came out, especially these blockbuster films, whether it's, in fact, I don't think I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark in the theater. That's another one that stayed for a while, but I don't know. I think we were in the middle of moving between North Carolina and Atlanta at the time, but somehow I missed Raiders coming out. So I remember the first time I saw that was on a VHS because I went to my buddy's house, and you know, we have the sleepovers and stuff. They get popcorn and we have our sleeping bags out, and his mom rented Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then I remember saying, isn't that the guy that plays Han Solo? Like even Harrison Ford, even though he was Han Solo, I don't think he became an icon until he was Indiana Jones.
Really?
You know, because
even though he had a prominent role in
Star Wars, but he
Star
was part of
Wars.
an ensemble. But this was, you know, and Raiders was before Empire Strikes Back. So Harrison Ford, when he was Empire Strikes Back, that then really bolstered his status. But
Wow.
in Star Wars, I mean, everybody loved him. I say to this day, I told you the other day, without casting Harrison Ford, I don't think we'd be talking about Star Wars today. I think he single-handedly carried.
Or my nephew would be called something random.
Right.
Is he actually named after
Joe.
Harrison Ford?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Well, weren't you gonna name your son
Yeah.
Han Solo or something?
Maverick.
Maverick. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
That's how you
That's
diehard
funny.
fans. I would.
Dylan instead of Maverick. Well,
Yeah,
Maverick.
Maverick instead,
Bond.
Right. What, did your mother not like you? I think that was the line as to why he was named that.
So
That's wild.
we've talked about the movie Disclosure Day. What's another blockbuster coming out this summer that we should be looking forward to and feel motivated to
Tell us.
go
I'm
out?
ready to go to a movie.
Masters of the Universe. That's the other summer blockbuster right now, right? When you say?
I would say, yeah.
Is that what?
It
yeah,
kind of
He-Man?
it's slightly underperformed, but yeah, it's the He-Man,
He-Man.
movie.
He-Man, yeah.
You know, next week you got Toy Story 4 or 5, sorry. And then you know, there's a new Spider-Man,
feel like-
Supergirl.
That's the other thing. Spider-Man, it's almost like another Spider-Man. I kind of lost track of the Tobey Maguire stuff,
Yeah.
which I thought was great, by
Yeah.
the way. Because I was a huge Spider-Man fan growing up. I had my actual Aunt Joyce. She sewed me a whole Spider-Man outfit. I still have the hood to this
You
day.
should have walked
You
in
should've
with
worn
it.
it.
But the funny thing is, when I was a kid, it was like Spider-Man in his pajamas.
Why didn't you wear
it was
your
like all
Spider-Man
baggy and
outfit?
stuff like that. Now I can put it on. It's kind of tight.
I'm not gonna lie, I do remember when I went to go see the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire when it first got released in the movie theater. I remember that day very specific. It was back in 2006, right? Yeah. So that was like an iconic movie.
Oh yeah,
growing up.
Spider-Man's great.
Yeah.
But then they
start making.
But the
I love.
first
Don't get me
one-
wrong. Like I
I'm
love Tom
confused.
Holland, but again, how many
not
do
the
we have
same.
now from
Yeah.
his?
I just get
franchise?
confused, and they had so many
Yeah.
actors. Then they're like, "Well, let's just call it the Spider-Man universe, and we'll bring them all." They're all like, it's like, you know,
All together, intertwined.
hell's going
on
What-
with
Didn't
that thing?
Spider-Man also end up in
the Avengers.
The Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got so lost in all that stuff. I just had to give up on it.
Yeah. Well, I guess the one thing with the Spider-Man movies is like they've made those separate like standalone adventures. So those I feel like they've been consistently good.
Yeah.
Like the last one especially was good. So yeah, I'm kind of getting less excited about superhero stuff, but those are like looking on paper, those are like the big ones that
Yeah.
are still
So-
yet to come.
So why can't a Christmas movie become a blockbuster?
Oh, it certainly
Die Hard.
certainly can. Yeah.
Die
That
Hard.
was a Christmas
Yeah.
movie.
A lot of times
Really?
people
Christmas
think
action
of
movie?
summer when you hear blockbuster,
Yeah.
but no, like Christmas like Home Alone is a
That's
a
true.
Christmas
That's true. I
blockbuster,
totally
you
didn't think
know.
of that. Yeah.
So some of the blockbusters, Mike, also before Jaws, the blockbusters did release between November and Christmas, like Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
A lot of those big old movies, those were all before Jaws, and then what they did with Jaws, and that's why they became Jaws set the tone of summer blockbusters, and so they put like $700,000 into the marketing for Jaws for that release. And that's when you had people just anticipating this thing coming out. And so when they did release in the summer, that's when also malls were becoming very popular.
Yeah.
Okay, so kids were inside because of the air-conditioned mall, and a lot of times in the malls, the movie theaters were inside the malls.
Yeah.
And so that was another draw to at that point. And then so after Jaws was a summer blockbuster, then that was kind of that set the tone.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah.
Well,
Oh my gosh, you guys! I literally sat here and just learned so much about these movies. I'm so excited.
so which one are we gonna go home and watch now?
Let's see.
I'll be watching
I don't-
Jaws on
E.T..
July 4th. E.T.,
I've always done this like thing where I say like E.T. phone home.
That was good.
Wasn't that so good?
That was
Your
great.
cat- you're gonna
I
be
could
cast in the
totally be the
sequel.
new E.T.
Do that again.
E.T. phone home. Right?
That was good.
That's pretty spot on.
That's great.
So whoever the director is, I could be the next E.T.
Well, that's Spielberg, but if he makes a sequel,
All
I was
right.
hoping E.T. would show up in Disclosure Day.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Come on, Jack. Nobody.
Mike and Jack, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us
It was
today.
fun.
You guys need to just be
Absolutely.
regulars every season.
Seriously.
Just have you come in and talk about
We
movies.
could do the. I think
do
we
the fall.
Yeah, the fall,
Fall.
for the,
Yes,
the horror
like
horror film season.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Halloween.
Yeah. We can all dress up as.
We can all be one little
Yeah.
Halloween
Yeah.
character.
We talked about that last
Yeah.
summer and we didn't
Yeah.
do it, but we got to do it
We
this
got
fall.
to do it. Yeah.
All right, guys,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining
All right,
us.
thank
if
you.
you're watching and
Absolutely.
listening, please subscribe and follow and keep
Make
us-
sure you share Unfiltered Brew.
Yeah, and
and
share Unfiltered Brew. And we can't wait to see you guys next time.
yes, see you next time.
Enjoy
Bye.
the movies.
Bye.